Hi, today we're going to talk about figurative language. We're going to learn about what it is and how to use it in your writing. So to start off, figurative language is using words or expressions that have meanings that are different from the literal interpretation. So what that means is using words to say what you want to say without directly saying it. So it has a meaning that is not taken literally. So you use it in your writings to enhance your writing, add creativity, and provide visuals for the readers. So the first type of figurative language that we're going to talk about is a simile. A simile is comparing two different things that have nothing in common with one another with using the words like or as. So you would say she is as tall as a giraffe, or he is as dull as a rock. Something like that. You're using like or as to compare the two things. The second type of figurative language is a metaphor. A metaphor is just like a simile because you're comparing two things that normally wouldn't be associated with one another, but you're not using the words like or as. So instead of saying he is like a rock, you would say he is a rock, which meaning that he's boring and dull, but you don't use the words like or as. The third type of figurative language is personification. Personification is giving something that is not human, so like an object, a place, a thing, something that's not human, or even an animal, giving that non-human thing a human characteristic. So you would say, the wind whistled in the wind. The wind whistled in the air, sorry. The wind can't actually whistle, so that would be personification. Another example would be, another example would be the stars danced in the sky. Stars can't actually dance, but it's a descriptive way of saying that they were moving around or glistening. So you're giving a non-human thing a human characteristic. The next type of figurative language is called symbolism. Symbolism is the use of symbols to represent ideas. So there are many different ways of expressing what you want to say by using symbols. So instead of saying that love is rare, for instance, you would say love is a jewel. So that jewel means rare and beautiful and precious. So instead of just saying love is rare or precious or beautiful, you just say love is a jewel, and you're using jewel and you're interpreting it as a different meaning. So you have to think a little bit about what the author has in mind, but that's like you're just using symbols. Another symbol is colors are very important. So often blue represents sadness, green represents envious or jealousy, and red often represents love. So you could say, the funeral was very blue. Obviously, the funeral is not literally blue, but it's depressing and sad, so that you can interpret it like that. The next type of figurative language is called hyperbole. And hyperbole is an exaggerated statement or claim that is not meant to be taken literally. So, for example, I am so hungry I could eat a horse. That's very exaggerated because you would never actually eat a horse. That's not a literal statement. Another thing would be, I had a ton of chores to do. You don't literally have a ton of chores to do. You have a lot, but it's not a ton. So that's what an hyperbole is. It's just an exaggeration. The next type is called an alliteration. An alliteration is when a number of words that have the same consonant sound occur close together in a series. So, Sally sells seashells at the seashore. For instance, all start with S's. It's hard to say. So basically, when every word in a sentence starts with the same letter or sounds the same. Another example of a hyperbole would be, not an hyperbole, of an alliteration would be, Alice's aunt ate apples and acorns around August. So you see every word in that sentence starts with an A. And they're often hard to say because the words sound so much alike. And lastly is onomatopoeia. It's a big word, but it's basically all it is when a word is formed from the sound that an associated thing makes. So, for instance, buzz, pop, zoom, kerplunk, it's all sounds, but you're writing the sounds out. So this adds to your writing because instead of just saying, I dropped the book, you could write, bam, I dropped the book on the floor. And it adds emphasis, and you could create more of like a visual of what it sounded like. Instead of saying the bee buzzed by me, you could actually write buzz to add how loud the noise was. So those are 7 examples of figurative language, and eventually we're going to be using them in our own writing. So we use them to add creativity, make the writing for the readers more interesting, and make them want to read it. And it helps create visuals because you're not saying exactly what you want to say. You could have interpreting it in different things and it's adding more description. Instead of saying she is so tall, you could say she's as tall as a giraffe. It's showing that she actually is tall. She really towers over everyone else. So now that we know what figurative language is, hopefully we will be able to understand it more and realize it when we see it in other writings. So hopefully all your questions were answered in this video, and